Good center impact. Do it again. First key point we're going to talk about is fitting the rifle or the system to your body. It's important that the shooter fit the rifle to the best of their ability. That way it'll give them the maximum comfort when shooting. Now, the rifle doesn't care if you're comfortable or not. However, setting up the rifle to you can be the difference between fatigue and success. The first thing we want to talk about is the length of pull. The length of pull is the difference from the back of the stock to the trigger. A lot of talk about how you set up your length of pull. They'll tell you from the inside crook of your elbow there to the tip of your finger. However, we want to change that just slightly. We want the inside crook to be able to engage the trigger with your finger. So that way there it's just a little bit shorter. On top of that, once that's set, we want to turn around and take between 1/4 and 1/2 inch off of that. Now, why do we want to shrink the length of pull by that 1/2 inch? Well, most people shoot in the prone. The tactical shooter is going to be moving from the prone to the sitting to the kneeling to the standing. So as we rotate off the ground, we're going to be rotating where our head and our cheek weld is. By making it shorter, it's going to maintain the distance to our scope a little bit better than if the stock was a little bit longer. That longer stock in the standing or kneeling position is going to push your scope out farther. On top of that, for you guys who are wearing body armor, if your length of pull is a little bit shorter and you have body armor on, it's going to help you keep your eye relief in the proper location. So take your stock, measure it with your finger on the trigger, and then shrink it by that 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Next, we want to look at the cheek weld. We want to be able to build up our cheek piece if possible. This is going to help us keep our eye in line with the scope. Now, there's many rifles out there that people get that are pretty close to stock, such as the Remington type, where it's fixed, you bought it from the store. That, if it comes that way, well, then you may have to compromise slightly, which is okay. People do it every day. However, there's things you can do to help build it up. Cheek pads like this you can build up. You'll see a lot of people with duct tape and foam to make that. You may not be able to shrink your length of pull that way because of the fixed stock, but for some of you taller guys, you can extend it by using pieces to help you do that. Same thing with a rifle of this type. You want to do the best you can initially to set it up. And what I would recommend is to get in position on it and to make sure you're nice and comfortable. Setting up the rifle to your body is the difference between fatigue and success. We want to eliminate as much strain and as much fatigue as possible, so that way there we can focus on the fundamentals of marksmanship and we can execute the firing task to the best of our abilities.